How's it going, ladies and bruises? Up, I'll be Sixkilla, and welcome back to Route Double. We have just found Yuri's corpse, and Watase has passed out or something like that because of it. We did go to great lengths to try and save her, and it didn't pan out in the end, so I guess that's getting to him pretty hard. Watase was in a daze for a while. He had no clue how long he'd been like that. Soon enough... Hey, get a hold of yourself already. How long are you going to space out for? Hurry up and get back to the others. Watase finally came back to his senses after hearing the now familiar auditory hallucination. He realized he'd been strolling like a zombie through the inner ring's hallway without even being aware of it. He turned around and saw the door to the stairwell behind him. That's right, I have to tell everyone what happened, no matter how painful that may be. Watase mustered his nearly torn heart and headed for the factory. When he got there, he found Jin, Ena, and Ukita. Oh, Captain, you're looking really pale there. What's wrong? Everyone ran up to him. Ukita looked at his watch and spoke. You sure took quite some time. Did something happen? Watase answered in a shaky voice. Guys, please don't freak out when you hear this, but Yuri's dead. What? Everyone's eyes widened. Impossible. How could she be dead? Was it an accident? Was she murdered? I don't know, but I found her body, that's a fact. Where'd you find her? Come with me, it's this way. Watase took the others with him and headed back for the stairwell in the inner ring. She's right in here. Watase stopped in front of the stairwell. His companions all gulped. Miss Yuri's here. I'm opening it up now. Let me guess, the corpse is missing. Okay. Watase paused as he felt cold sweat roll down his back, and then opened the door. But, what? There was nothing there, I knew it. Nothing but the wreckage of the collapsed staircase. Huh? Didn't you say there was a body here? Nikita and the others looked puzzled. By the time Watase could speak again, his voice was laden with disbelief. This can't be. Watase searched the cramped stairwell, but he couldn't find the body no matter how hard he looked. The body's gone. Nikita let out an exasperated sigh when he heard that. Good grief, are you sure you weren't just seeing things? I'm not lying, there really was a body here, I swear. There was a girl with blood pouring down her head. She was dead no matter how you look at it. Blood, but I don't see any bloodstains anywhere. Watase was rendered speechless at that. He just confirmed with his own eyes that there were indeed no body or bloodstains anywhere to be found. Perhaps the absence of the body you allegedly found can be explained as your perception itself being wrong. What? You hit your head hard enough to induce amnesia. That means your brain has been damaged in some ways, yes? Watase felt shivers down his spine. Rikita's theory made total sense. And did that mean the auditory hallucinations he'd been hearing for the past few hours, and his constant headaches and nausea, were they the result of brain damage? To make matters worse, he'd also been suffering from radiation damage on top of that. Has my brain been damaged past the point of no return? Watase desperately tried to find another plausible explanation for everything, but I can't think of anything. In the first place, he didn't even have any clue why he had amnesia to begin with, or what had happened before he lost his memories, meaning that thinking about his condition wouldn't help him at all. Shit, if only I could remember what the situation just before I lost my memory was like. If only I could remember what happened a few hours ago, then I might be able to finally answer some of my questions. Like the truth behind my condition and what's been happening in this facility today. It felt like he was totally lacking in the knowledge he needed to understand all that. Just then Ukita's voice interrupted his thoughts. Captain Kasasagi, you listening? Watase gritted his teeth and mustered a response. No, hold on, this still doesn't make any sense. How so? Maybe I only thought Yuri was dead, but she was actually still alive. But you said she was ice cold. She must have started breathing again and went off somewhere after I left. Do you really think that she could have done all that in just the span of a few minutes? Look, let's just split up and search the area already. Mortabay and I will cover B1. Teach, old man, you take care of B2. Okay, well if you say so, then of course I'll obey, but do we even have time to be wasting on this? Fine. Then just for 5 minutes. All of us will gather back here in 5 minutes. Though they were reluctant, Watase managed to persuade everyone. Thus they began searching for Yuri. But no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find Yuri anywhere. The group reunited at the stairwell 5 minutes later. We didn't find her. Watase couldn't say anything in the face of everyone's stares. That was clearly a waste of time. No matter how you spin it, Captain Kasasagi was either lying, seeing things, or just misunderstanding something. Captain Kasasagi, there's this old saying, the ghost was just withered grass. I'm sure you were so desperate to find Yuri that you just mistook a shadow or something for her. I guess you're right. He couldn't press his own belief on them any longer. Either way, it's true that we wasted time. Watase reluctantly withheld his opinion and changed gears. Think about it another way. It's actually better if I was just misunderstanding things, because that means she's not dead. Indeed, I'm sure she's still alive somewhere. Yes, precisely. Watase said that to convince himself that something was clearly happening here. Watase continued talking as he felt the ominous premonition in his mind. Let's head back to the neuroscience laboratory for now. Yes, it's already been over an hour since we left after all. Indeed, that would be for the best. And the lieutenant might be waiting for us there, you know. The group thus headed on over towards the neuroscience laboratory. But Kazami wasn't there. Instead, the group was greeted with a shocking sight. What the hell? It wasn't what they saw that was strange. It was what they didn't see that was strange. The ADs. The ADs they'd left in the neuroscience laboratory was all gone. This can't be happening. All they found were torn scraps of paper scattered on the floor. Watase picked one of them up and it read, "To Mr. Tenkawa." They were the ripped up remnants of Ena's note. Why? Everyone was frozen in shock. Oh no, we only have one AD each. That AD would be exposed to the radiation. Watase couldn't speak. He quickly checked his Procyon to find that it read 5,928 microsieverts. The radiation levels throughout the entire facility were all probably past the first danger standard by this point. Kazami had indeed managed to survive for an hour, on only half of an AD before, but she also mentioned that she hadn't been feeling well during that time. Plus the radiation levels are completely different then. If things didn't turn for the better soon, it was most likely only a matter of time before they exceeded the second danger standard. And the last time I was in a contaminated zone, he suffered from intense headaches and nausea after only a few minutes in there. He shuddered at the thought of that happening to everyone else. Damn it, how the hell did this happen? Bizarre events just kept happening one after another. Watase gritted his teeth. Ukita then spoke up. How, you ask? It's obvious. Someone stole the AD, that's how. He's right, and what's more, the culprit must have been one of us. Jin scanned the others with a sharp look in her eyes. Wait just a minute, Mortabe, do you realize what you just said? But that's the only possibility I can think of. It could be the kids. The note did say take the AD, kids, so maybe they just came and took it. I mean, there's no one else here aside from us and those kids, right? But I don't think Natsuhiko and the others would go steal the AD without saying a thing. They wouldn't steal it. The note told them to take the AD. I know them, they're good kids. They'd never tear up a note like that. So it's only natural to think one of us is the culprit. Hey, who was it that went off on their own? Can you all prove your alibis? Watase was dumbfounded at the fierce look Jin was giving them all, and then Ena sighed and spoke. True, we don't have alibis. To teach? Me, Captain Kasasagi, and Mr. Ukita were all off on our own for a period of time. But you know, you don't have an alibi either, Miss Mortabe. Ena gave Jin a pointed glare. Huh? There's no one who can prove what you were doing between the time you got hurt and when you regrouped with the rest of us, correct? What are you talking about? I was resting in that room, you know that too. But what if you got back on your feet right away? And besides, they often say that the accuser is usually the most suspicious one. What? What are you getting at? Are you actually trying to say I'm the one who hid the AD? You can't deny that possibility. Don't screw with me, you bitch. Ena trembled in the face of Jin's mad roar. What would I possibly have to gain from that? I'm a rescue worker, for God's sake. The pay's shit, the job's hell, and it's the most unappreciated line of work there is on top of that. But you know what? Why we do it? It's because we want to help people. Every time we go to work, it feels like we're diving straight into hell itself, and we face countless near-death experiences. But we do this job because we want to rescue people. And yet you have the goddamn nerve to imply that I, Jun Mortabe, a member of Sirius, stole the AD? What the fuck's wrong with you? Jin gave Ena the deadliest glare she could, then started panting heavily once she finished talking. Tears were pouring down her cheeks. Ena was absolutely speechless. She looked away in regret. I'm sorry, you really are putting your life on the line in that job, aren't you? That's right, we're always prepared for that risk. Just as Jin said that in a shaky voice, But you can't say for sure that all rescue workers think the same way, Ukita interjected. Old man? Work ethics and personal ideology don't always coincide. There are those who value their own principles and stances above work. Then, are you trying to say that there's a traitor in Sirius? Perhaps. You ungrateful bastard, are you forgetting that we saved your damn life just last week? Now, hold on. What I'm doubting is... Watase couldn't take it anymore and shouted as another quarrel began to break out. Enough, cut it out, guys. I've had enough of watching you all bickering with each other. Why is it that hard for you guys to have more faith in each other? So what if the note was torn up? Maybe the survivors just took the AD, you ever think of that? Why do you keep doubting each other without any proof? Don't you see how wrong that is? And how are we supposed to find proof of who did it? The surveillance room. The surveillance room? Tachibana's checking the cameras in the surveillance room. She may have seen something. Kazami had told him she'd go to the neuroscience laboratory once she healed up, but the fact that she wasn't here meant she was probably still recovering. But most of the surveillance cameras are broken, remember? Most, not all. Which means it's worth a shot to check them out. At least it's better than sticking around here yelling our heads off. Jun, Enna and Ukita were all silent. Eventually Jun spoke up in a soft voice. Yeah, you're right. Let's go on over to the surveillance room, guys. But if I ever find out that one of you is the culprit, I swear I'll... Jun surveyed the others with a fierce glare. No, there's no way that one of us did it. We're going there so we can find proof that we can trust each other. The group then hurried on over to the surveillance room. Watase suddenly felt an unpleasant sensation in his skin as he ran on over to the surveillance room. It was just like the time he'd been in the contaminated zone. Watase checked his watch. He then realized it was already past time for them to take their AD. Crap, everyone take your AD. On it. The group then administered themselves with AD. Now they had none left at all. I felt a pain in my skin as soon as the AD wore off. Likewise. Now they really were in an environment where they couldn't live without AD. Let's step on it, we need to find out where the AD went and fast. The group nodded and started running again. Area 3, inner ring, B2. The group are now right outside the surveillance room. Watase moved to open the door, but then... Stop. Don't want to hear... He heard a voice from inside. Was that Tachibana? Just then she started talking again. How do you know that? Don't tell me that... You couldn't hear the voice behind the door all that well, but it seemed like she was talking to someone. Captain, quit staring up into space and open the door already. Right. Watase restrained his confusion and opened the door. Wait. Kazami shouted at the same time as Watase opened the door. She then looked at the group and her face froze over. Captain, and everyone else too. Tachibana, are you by yourself? Kazami was the only one in the surveillance room. That is correct. Why, does it look like someone else is here? No, I don't see anyone. I could have sworn I heard you arguing with someone. I was talking to the radio. The radio? Yes, I got in touch with someone on the surface just a short while ago, but the reception broke up right away. So I shouted wait by myself when the connection went dead. Kazami looked at the floor as she relayed all that in a feeble voice. Is that true? He wondered that for a moment, then decided against prying any further. He didn't want to make the doubt palpable with their group even stronger. He just chalked it up to yet another bizarre incident. I mean, that sounded reasonable. Watase then moved on to the pressing issue at hand. Come on, Kazami's the one person here that can absolutely be trusted above all else. Right? I feel like that's right. Tachibana, just to be safe, you didn't bring the AD in here, did you? Huh? What do you mean by that? I haven't taken a step out of this room ever since I got here. Yeah, I see. Did something happen? Actually, it looks like someone took the AD we left lying around in the neuroscience laboratory. I said that was a bad idea at the time. You remember, right? I said that was a bad idea. Huh? So we came here to check the surveillance camera footage to see if it could help us out. Watase looked at Kazami when he said that. Knowing her, he'd figured she'd readily comply with their request. However, the ADs? I see, so the AD's gone, is it? Tachibana? Kazami then answered without looking at Watase. Captain, my apologies, but none of the cameras near the neuroscience laboratory are working. Is that so? I've been checking the surveillance footage in thorough detail. There are 2 cameras working in Area 1's outer ring, 2 in Area 2's inner ring, and 1 in Area 3's outer ring. 2 in Area 4's outer ring, and 2 in Area 6's inner ring, that's all. Wait, Area 6's inner ring? Yes, one in the emergency staircase and one in the hallway. Then did you see Yuri on them? Miss Yuri? Unfortunately, I haven't seen any footage of her wandering around by herself. Wait, she should have been near Area 6. Why do you believe that? Yukita answered in Watase's stead. Well, you see, he claims he saw Yuri's corpse in the Area 6 emergency staircase. Miss Yuri's corpse? We were shocked too, so we went over to check it out, but there was nothing there. Well, we could check the cameras to see if what I saw was real or not. Play back the footage from around 20 minutes ago. Understood. Kazami said that and replayed the surveillance camera footage. Archive footage showing the emergency staircase in Area 6 is in a ring played on the monitor. Watase and Akita soon showed up. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the monitor. That's right, the old man and I split up here. The footage showed Akita walking away from Watase, followed by the latter climbing the rope. Watase soon finished up his search of B1 and came back. It's right after this, I stopped right there and saw Yuri's body. Watase leaned forward. However... Huh? The footage showed Watase heading straight out of the stairwell without stopping. What? The timestamp displayed on the monitor was 13:52:12. The time matched up with Watase's memories, but he didn't find a body? Why? Watase muttered that and heard a low voice behind him. Captain Kasasagi, what is the meaning of this? Watase turned around in surprise to see Yukita scowling right at him. What the hell? So not only did you not find a body, but you didn't even stop like you said you did. Why did you lie, Obviously we don't think we're lying, otherwise we wouldn't get her to play the fucking thing on the monitor to show you that we're lying. Right? Why would we give ourselves away like that? We're the one who asked her to play the footage. Man, this Ukita guy. Put your head out of your ass, dipshit. You mean to be a scientist? Watase couldn't answer that question. That's not all that's strange either. There's also the video's timestamp. 1:52 PM. It seems he left the stairwell at this time. However, he did not return to the factory until 1:58 PM. What? Mr. Ikeda, is that true? Yes, I checked my watch when he came back, so I'm sure of it. Now that he thought about it, Ikeda did say he sure took quite some time. Did something happen when they regrouped in the factory? Watase had thought the time lag had been because he'd been shocked and out of it from finding a body, but there's no way that it takes 6 minutes to get from the inner ring to the factory. Where were you and what were you doing in that 6-minute blank? Well, I was really out of it after seeing that body. When I came to my senses, I was walking down the inner ring's hallway. But as for where and what I was doing... But that's not true. The archive footage even shows that there was no body in the first place. Watase instinctively felt quiet. His memory of finding the body was crystal clear, but his subjective memory had been smashed into pieces by the objective video footage. What's the meaning of this, Captain? Why would you ever lie like that? Do they not think about the fact that we would never show the footage of us lying if we knew we were lying? Why, you ask? I believe it's quite obvious. He used it as an excuse to show up late to the factory. Then probably took that opportunity to steal the AD under our noses. Everyone gasped at Ukita's accusation. No, I never did anything like that. Then what were you doing for 6 minutes? You knew we were in a race against time, yeah? Watase instinctively fell quiet, overwhelmed by confusion. What's wrong, Captain? Say something. Were you lying to us? No. I swear that I don't know what happened. I see now, you can't even trust yourself, so you're chalking all this up to your memory impairment. Very well, so be it. But you know, this is also an admission that nothing you've said up to this point can be trusted. What? When we were arguing over the disappearance of the AD earlier, you were the one who scolded us. You looked confident that you weren't the culprit. But how are we supposed to trust the words of a man who hallucinated seeing a body? Isn't it possible you hid the AD somewhere and simply forgot about it? That's impossible, no chance in hell, I'm sane. Sane? That must mean you're a liar instead. You lied about finding a body, and you're probably lying about not stealing the AD too. It was then that Watase realized it. Whether he was sane or not, it didn't change the fact that either way, his words were no longer trustworthy. Please wait. The question here is, why would he ever tell such a bizarre lie like that? Who knows, but if you think of it that way, then that makes everything about him suspicious. Like for example, were the memories that he claimed he got back really true to begin with? What? He claimed he went down to the basement to rescue survivors, but perhaps that's yet another lie. And in reality, he came down for a completely different purpose. What different purpose? Isn't it obvious? To kill. Watase gasped with shock. Ukita continued, yes, this is not an act of terrorism, but rather a systemic murder. A systematic murder. Take this theory for example. You wanted to kill your co-worker Dojima for some reason. so he decided to murder him during a dispatch to a disaster site. If he died at the site with a particularly nasty fire, his corpse would have been burned up, then his death would be dismissed as an accident. Once he came up with this scheme, he took the incident as the perfect opportunity to put your plan into motion. But those two researchers witnessed what you've done, so you killed them to silence them. Hiyama barely managed to escape, but in the end he got burned to death. And if you think of it that way, then perhaps Yuri and the girl who died by the lift were also witnesses. Oh, and that's right, Louise, you know, the one who always runs away from you every time she sees you, may also be a witness. Stop already, that's all bullshit. Why the hell would I ever do any of that? I don't have proof that you did it, but there's also no proof you didn't do it. You can't prove a negative, you know that. You're a scientist, dipshit. God, this guy pisses me off, man. That is something that you yourself have acknowledged repeatedly, yes? Guilty until proven innocent, are we? Good. Okay, excellent. Good work. Watase looked around seeking help. He locked eyes with Kazami. A troubled look rose to her face. Touchy Bunnet, did I hate that Dojima guy enough to kill him? I don't know. Then do you at least know if I ever acted like I might? I really don't know. I don't know because you never once talked about yourself. Kazami looked at Watase with sad eyes. I never talked about myself? No, before you lost your memories, you were a man who put his distance between others. You never once told anyone what you were thinking, nor did you even attempt to. No one. Not even me. Kazami said that in a pained voice. John then spoke up. Now that you mention it, I don't know anything about the captain's private life either. I just know him on a work basis. Watase was astonished. He thought that Kazami and Jin would trust him, just as he trusted them. Yet they didn't trust not only the Watase without his memories, but even the him from when he did have his memories. This isn't happening. Watase's feet started shaking. Jin glared at him and spoke. Captain, tell us the truth. Why did you really go down to the basement? You normally would have never left a command post to begin with, so why? Come on, tell me. Captain, did you really come here to save lives? If you didn't, then I swear I'll make you pay, you hear? Anger was slowly building in Jin's eyes. No, it wasn't as simple as anger. It was the intent to kill. Jin glared at Watase with bloodthirsty eyes. No, you're right. He wanted to say she was wrong, but he couldn't. He knew anything he said here would sound hollow. Yeah, he tried to say something, but just then... Hold on, you two. Enna spoke up. What? You guys are acting a little weird. Huh? How so? Indeed, I believe we've made a truly sound argument. Nothing about this is sound. Didn't Captain Kasasagi risk his life on multiple occasions to save you guys? And yet you turned your backs on him the moment the AD disappeared? What kind of sane person does that? That has nothing to do with this. Why are you on the captain's side after hearing everything we just said? Because nothing you just said proves anything. It's just bullshit. I mean, you barely know the guy, right? Unless the two of you are in cahoots or something. What are you talking about? The sudden accusation left Enna with a confused look on her face. But Nikita kept up the assault before she had time to counter. I see, now I get it. I always did think you were acting strange. Now I finally understand you two are planning to just save yourselves and leave the rest of us to die. Well, I'm thinking about it now, asshole. You were the ones who hid the AD, weren't you? Also, you could have it all to yourselves. Nikita and Jin were glaring at Watase and Enna. It just seemed that Watase finally realized it. Their eyes were full of madness. This isn't good, they're really out of their minds. Now that you thought about it, there are numerous factors that could be behind it. Their hours of built-up fatigue, the multiple strange happenings in this place, the feeling of entrapment from being stuck down here, the despair at not finding an exit, the fear from finding all those bodies, and then the loss of the AD had driven the final nail in the coffin. That one act had dramatically shortened the group's lifespan. It's impossible to expect anyone to remain sane in these circumstances. Yukita and Jin prowled towards them. Just then a voice echoed in Watase's head. It's too dangerous. Take Professor Tsubakiyama and run. Watase came back to his senses and took Enna by the arm. But at that moment, trying to run? Not good, hold them down. Jin and Nikita sprang at them, but Watase and Enna barely managed to dodge them in time. Jin and Nikita slammed into the monitors, but they quickly turned around and glared at Watase and Enna. Don't we have to save Kazami as well though? Watase instinctively looked away, only for his eyes to turn to Kazami. Kazami was looking towards the exit. She gave Watase a glance as if to say, run. Teach, let's get out of here. Right. Watase took Enna's arm and ran out of the room. Well, this is going well. I knew Ukita would turn on us eventually. Damn it, lost sight of him. I didn't think Jun would though. I knew Ukita would, because he's been like this the whole way through. But Jun, I trusted her. Sounds like they're gone. Yeah. Watase and Ina had escaped their pursuers and were now hiding in a room in Area 2's inner ring. I didn't expect things to turn violent so suddenly. Well, it's not that surprising. Not when you consider the number of dead bodies we've seen. I can understand how their anger and impatience are driving them crazy. True, but that really was a close call back there. If they'd caught us, then they might have very well killed us for all we know. Killed us? Wait, are you serious? You don't honestly think they'd go that far, do you? They're still our companions. A stern expression appeared on Ina's face when she heard his protests. You still don't get it. The thing that's truly frightening in this hell isn't fire or radiation. It's people. Yes, nothing is more terrifying than the raw malice of someone with their back to the wall. Watase gasped. He thought that their only hope was the death in this death-ridden facility was the human will to survive. But now that things have gone to hell, it was likely the other way around. What happens when the human will to survive transcends human morals? Does it become the will to survive even at the cost of killing others? Or maybe it becomes a conviction that killing others is justifiable if it means protecting someone else. And in any normal situation, Ukita and Jun would probably never even dream about considering those things. But now everyone's lives are at risk, their morals are most likely being shaved down to a layer of thin ice. Possibly enough to justify murder in their minds. Damn it, how did things come to this? Why? I thought we were all on the same side here. The problem was that it was whether the others felt the same way. And they probably didn't. Watase breathed a heavy sigh and turned to Ina. Hey, can I ask you a question? What? Why'd you stick up for me back there? Regardless of what I remember, that video footage proves I'm suspicious. Weren't you the one who told me to doubt everything? So why are you... Faced with the others having seemingly gone mad and beginning to doubt even his own memories, Watase wondered what Ina was truly after. Yeah, but you're not going to side with the two people that have gone fucking crazy. Ina then spoke in a somewhat hesitant voice. Because I want to know what your real motives are too. Hey, you said that you saw Miss Yudi's body, right? How do you explain that? I think it was my eyes playing tricks on me, just like the old man said. I'm suffering from memory impairment and I've been in contaminated zones a few times. It wouldn't be odd for me to be seeing things. He was reminded of something Kazami had said way back then. Radiation exposure causes severely negative effects on the human body. This includes skin inflammation, nausea, organ failure, brain cell damage, vision impairment, neurological disorders, genetic disorders, and cancer. Vision impairment, neurological disorders, and brain cell damage. Any of those could have caused Watase to hallucinate seeing a corpse. And to be honest, I've been hearing this auditory hallucination from time to time ever since I woke up. An auditory hallucination? Yeah, I figured you would think I was nuts if I mentioned it, so I kept quiet about it this whole time. At first I thought it was being caused by that BC thing you mentioned earlier. But the auditory hallucination aside, there's no such BC out there that can cause someone to hallucinate, right? You're right. So maybe I've just gone crazy. Simple as that. Feelings of abandonment seized Watase. The Procyon's reading was at 5,672 microsieverts. They had less than an hour until their next AD injection. At this radiation level, they'd instantly show life-threatening symptoms of radiation exposure once their AD wore off. I mean, think about it, it's been a real long time since it passed the first danger standard. It's been a few hours since the AD stopped being enough to protect us from the radiation here, so it's not surprising I've been hallucinating. Watase shuddered. Ina then quietly spoke up. True, but you know what? There's something else that's been bothering me. Huh? You said that it's not surprising that on top of your memory impairment you've been hallucinating, thanks to your trips into the contaminated zones, right? But what if radiation wasn't the cause of your hallucinations? What? I remember reading something about this before. It is true that radiation can cause visual impairment, but that only refers to your sight getting blurry and becoming nearsighted. There was nothing about seeing things that aren't actually there. Then what's really causing my hallucinations? Got any ideas? Well, the brain cell damage could still do it. And neurological disorders. Nope. Ina's words only served to confuse Watase further. But I could be suffering from brain cell damage and neurological disorders. If my brain and nerves got messed up, then it's not implausible for me to be seeing things, right? True, but there's something else bothering me. Take a look at this. Ina took out her PDA. She then fiddled around with it, causing words to appear on the screen. What's this? Remember how Mr. Ukita was yelling at me when I was looking around the neuroscience laboratory all by myself? Yeah, now that you mention it. The truth is his anger was more justified than he thought. I secretly copied data from the neuroscience laboratory's computer onto my PDA. You did what? Why? I was already convinced by that point that the accident was no ordinary accident. It's odd that it would take 9 hours for them to lift the lockdown, isn't it? So I was wondering if there's some other reason for that. Because I want to make sure that everybody's fucking dead before they open the place up again. Good question. But the data I copied was all encrypted. I tried decrypting it by myself for the time being, but most of the data is damaged. Watase remembered that Enna had indeed been fiddling around with her PDA from time to time in the last few hours for some reason. So you weren't actually checking your map, but instead trying to decrypt the data. Yes, I was able to discover some barely readable data as a result. Enna then handed over her PDA to Watase. On screen was what appeared to be sentences from a report of sorts. Case N specifications, alteration, proposal, August something 2021. Kashiwagi. On something 2021, August something. Subject N attempted escape, as you already know. Something at the same time. This chance to reevaluate the danger of this document talks about problems hinted at by this in EV leading the accident. Searcher S, proper S, took this chance. BC with something S. Communicator is ability. The target, their brain. Searches, dire, contact. Subject N. Area 0. Area 0? Is that what that says? Paradoxically, when just by at subject N to run. Reason for alteration. GF2R gene type S is something. Resistance X particle. Even no problem, rather to the aforementioned subject N, WX particle. Being said, shows that area 0 again. Although subject born in labo, reason to let out. It is subject careful. Okay, something about area 0 and something about being born in labo. There was the test subjects were born here. There were several words there that caught Watase's interest. Subject as born in labo. It is subject need to be careful. But in spite of that, none of this makes sense. What are they even talking about? Well, the title is apparently Case N Specifications Alteration Proposal. But as you see, the data's so encrypted you can barely read any of it in this state. The same goes for the rest. But I've managed to extract several lines with the tools I have on hand, and I found several strange words. This is the part I really wanted to show you. Hey, do any of these mean anything to you? Enna fiddled with her PDA again, this time bringing up a fully comprehensible list. Case N, 22 Hz, Area N, 21 Hz, Meltdown, 20 Hz, Subject Test Subject, 19 Hz, NBC, 15 Hz, WX Particle, 13 Hz, Particle Amplifier, 9 Hz, Subject N, 8 Hz. Brain Dysfunction, 6 Hz, Gene Malfunction, 5 Hz, Area 0, 5 Hz, WX Particle Proliferation, 4 Hz, Subject Y, 4 Hz, Subject Y2, 3 Hz, IGF2R Gene Abnormality Type S, 3 Hz, Subject A2, 3 Hz. We've seen quite a bit of that. Watase felt chills run down his spine with each phrase he saw. There were multiple unknown phrases in the mix, yet he felt a very severe sense of discomfort. It was soon cast aside for another emotion. Subject N, IGF2R gene. His heart shook from those phrases. He could feel a pitch-black emotion. A mix of fear, anger, and hatred welling up from the bottom of his heart like a geyser. Captain Kasasagi? Do you recognize these terms? Yeah. They did seem familiar to him. But a second later, a violent headache tore through him. It was as if his brain was refusing to let him remember. He still tried to search through his brain in spite of the pain, but no relevant memories would come to him. No, I don't remember. I see. Enna let out a truly disappointed sigh. What about you, Teach? Got any ideas? No, it just bugged me, that's all. When I saw the phrase brain dysfunction, it got me wondering if it had anything to do with your memory loss and hallucinations. I see, but I don't remember anything. I believe that the hallucinations I've been having truly are due to abnormalities in my brain, including my amnesia. It did seem like the cause of Watase's frequent headaches and memory problems really did lie in his brain. In that case, maybe I really did steal the AD and don't even remember it. I can't confidently deny the possibility that part of me is okay with letting everyone else die so long as I survive. Watase suddenly began to get scared. Very scared. Perhaps there was a wicked side to him that he was not aware of. One that was deciding all his actions on his own and driving everyone to their deaths. That thought was much more frightening than the prospect of his own death. But Ina spoke to Watase with a kind voice when he saw him trembling. Get a hold of yourself, Captain Kasasagi. You're not that kind of person. Huh? You are indeed suspicious. Your amnesia and the security footage attest to that. But even when I take that into account, I want to trust you. Why? Because the indisputable truth is, you've been pushing yourself to your limits to save people. You even ran into a contaminated zone to save a student of mine, even though you didn't even know her. It's not important that you have amnesia or that you had a hallucination. As long as you stay the way you are now, as long as you're Captain Kasasagi, I'm on your side. Ina gazed straight at Watase. Watase couldn't bear to look at her in the eye. He hung his head and answered, Thank you, Teach. There was someone out there who would say that they were on his side, even when he didn't trust himself. Watase was grateful for that more than anything else at the moment. But what do we do? Mortabe and old man Ukita don't trust me at all, you know? That's true. So that's why I'll go convince them. Why, you're not saying you plan to go alone, are you? No, they'll kill you, man. Of course I am. If you come along with me, things being the way they are now, all you'll do is make things harder for me. Well, yeah, I guess, but I'll be right back, so wait here, okay? And with those words, Ina left the room. This is a bad idea. To teach? Watase tried to follow her right away, and to be stopped by the image of Ukita and Jun's faces, full of hostility toward him, flashing through his mind. Damn it, she's right. If I go out there, all I'll do is rile them up. Watase decided to give up on following Ina after he thought that. However, anxiety welled up in his chest. But will Teach really be able to persuade them by herself? What if they doubt him because she defended me back at the surveillance room? But it was too late now. Teach, please get through to them. Watase waited for Ina to return, desperately praying for her success. Yet as time passed, there was no sign of her. How unsurprising. That was not a good idea. Those two have gone nuts and they're down to kill people now. And she just threw herself into the lion's den, man. Never gonna have to go save her ass. Unless she's already dead. Alright, well, we'll have to wrap this one up here because we're out of time for today. But shit's getting serious now. Now everybody's starting to turn on each other. So, yeah. It's getting very, Danganronpa Zero escapey with everyone turning on everyone now. We've been pretty solid apart from the fact that Ukita and fucking Ina kept arguing all the time. And, I don't know. Ukita pisses me off so much sometimes. He's so illogical for a fucking scientist, isn't he? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.